right, everybody. I know that you're all excited, and I just need to know who did their homework so we can get started talking about our person in history today. So, just let me know who did your homework. Now, the people that didn't do their homework, as you know, are going to be in a lot of trouble because doing homework is very important. So, I need to know who did their. I'm going. You know what? I'm going to assume that everybody did their homework, and I'm not going to ask that question. So, now I'll start with. I'll start with the Delaray, and let me hear what you have to say about the person that I told you to study about.
Okay, I've got my hand up, and because I know more than anybody else in the classroom, because I'm a real smart person from Nigeria, and that means I know a lot. Now, let's see here. The person that we're studying about, his name was, let me look here. Oh, I remember. Crispy French fries, and, let's see, what else did he do? I have to find out real fast. So,
Okay, Adela Ray, I did not ask you to study about anyone by the name of Crispy French fries. I can't believe it. Okay, I'll have to go to another student, and let's see. Now this will have to be a no. Let's see, Calvin. I know that you did your homework, so tell me about the person I told you to study about. All right.
oh yeah, you told me to read a book about, let's see, a guy named, I remember, his name was, it was Chris, and his name was Chris, and he attacked the forest. Isn't that it? Yeah.
I can't believe this. I can't believe it. Now, I know that there are two people in here that did not do their homework, Calvin and Adela Ray, the cousins, and I'm going to have to talk to your dad about how you don't do your homework. So, I'm going to turn to my good friend, and I know he studied hard. It's Ari. Okay, now, Ari, I want you to tell me about the person we had to study last night. So, you tell me about that.
Well, oh yeah. I studied about a guy that he was in a gang. Well, I don't know if it was a gang, but he got shot and he got into a fight with some people. Yeah, that's what he got into a fight, and they were throwing things at people. Oh, I'm sorry, my yarmulke came off. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, that's what happened. Hey, why don't we ask Bob the groundhog? He doesn't know anything.
Oh, you're asking me? Okay. I'm Bob the Groundhog, and I just started school just a few days ago. But I was studying about Crispus Attucks, and I can tell you a little bit about him. All right? Crispus Attucks' father was likely an enslaved person, and his mother was a Nantucket Indian, well, indigenous person. All that is definitely known about Mr. Attucks is that he was the first to fall during the Boston Massacre, which took place on March the 5th, 1770. In 1888, the Crispus Attucks Monument was unveiled in Boston Commons. Born into slavery around 1723, Attucks was believed to be the son of Prince Younger, an enslaved person, and he was shipped to the United States from Africa. And Nancy Attucks, she was a Nantucket indigenous person. Little is known about Crispus Attucks' life or his family, who reputedly resided in a town just outside of Boston. What has been pieced together paints a picture of a younger man who showed an early skill for buying and trading goods. He seemed unafraid of consequences, of escaping the bonds of slavery. Historians have theorized that Crispus Attucks was the focus of an advertisement in 1750 in the edition of the Boston Gazette, in which a white landowner offered to pay £10 for the return of a young runaway enslaved person. And it read like this: run away from his master, William Brown of Farmington, Massachusetts, on September 30th. He was considered to be a mulatto fellow, which meant he was of mixed race, 27 years of age. His name was Crispus, and he was 6'2", 6'2", had short curly hair. That's what the advertisement stated. Now, Crispus Attucks managed to escape for good and spent for the next 2 decades on trading ships. He was a sailor, and also he chased whales too out in the ocean. And his ships came in and out of Boston Harbor. And he also found work as a rope maker. They used to make ropes back at that time. So that's what I learned.
But Mr. Antonio, I learned about the Boston Massacre. That's what I was looking at. Oh, you guys didn't know about that. Oh, it was a big fight. Now, the Boston Massacre, known in Great Britain or England as the Incident on King Street, was a confrontation in Boston on March 5th, 1770, in which 9 British soldiers shot several people in a crowd of 300 to 400 who were harassing them verbally and throwing stuff at them. Yeah, they were throwing things. And this is the incident of the Boston Massacre by which Crispus Attucks was killed. Now, he is believed to be the first person to die in the American Revolution, which is something else because just think about that. He was a slave or a person who escaped from slavery, and, well, that's interesting. That's what I read that happened. And the event was heavily publicized, too. It was called the Massacre, and it was by leading patriots that publicized the information, such as Paul Revere, Samuel Adams. British troops had been stationed in the province of Boston. Well, it's the province of Massachusetts Bay since 1768. In order to support, they did that. Excuse me, in order to support the people that the British Crown or the King appointed as officials and enforced unpopular parliamentary laws. That's what they did. I know. You see, I did study some things. Now I can tell you how everything started. Well, the big crowd of 300 to 400 people, they were civilians, and the soldiers, well, there weren't that many of them. A mob were formed around one of the soldiers, and people were verbally abusing him. That means they were insulting him, calling him names and everything. And this is how the fight started. Oh, yeah. And he was eventually supported by 7 other soldiers, led by Captain Thomas Preston. And they hit them with clubs, and they threw rocks at them. Oh, and they also threw snowballs at the soldiers, too. Eventually, one of the soldiers fired into the crowd, prompting all other soldiers to fire without Preston's orders. Gunfire instantly killed 3 people and wounded 8 others. Later, those 3 people died. One of them was, I remember, Crispus Attucks. The crowd eventually dispersed. That means they went away. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. I remember. Oh, this part too. Yeah, the acting governor, Thomas Hutchinson, promised of an inquiry, which meant he would investigate it, but the crowd reformed around that base or where the soldiers were the next day. And this prompted the soldiers to withdraw to a place called Castle Island. 8 soldiers, 1 officer, and 4 civilians were arrested and charged with murder. Wow! And they were defended by future U.S. President John Adams. 6 of the soldiers were acquitted, and that means they were set free. And the other 2 were convicted of manslaughter, but they were given a reduced sentence. They were found guilty of manslaughter, and you know what they did? They put a hot brand, on their hand. Blah! It must have hurt real bad. That's what I learned.
Okay, it appears that you did do your homework. You just had what I call selective learning. Now, whenever we learn about something, we want to learn about the total history. This is why. Because when we have selective learning, like you guys did, where you just studied about the Boston Massacre, you failed to realize a truth about the Boston Massacre. Crispus Attucks was an African American, but he was also a citizen of Boston. He stood up with his fellow Bostonians against the British troops, and he laid down his life for the principles of this country. So it's important for us to realize that African Americans and white people, if that's what you want to say, fought alongside with each other to make certain that we have the freedoms that we do today. So that is an important thing. Crispus Attucks believed in his community. He believed in the things that his community stood for, and he was willing to stand up for that. And unfortunately, he lost his life. But that's what I wanted you to learn. Now, Adela Ray and Calvin, I want you guys to give me a great report next time when we learn about an African American heritage moment. But today, we learned about Crispus Attucks. And also, Ari, I want to answer one of your questions. Remember how you said the white people were going to be bad and black people were going to be good? Well, that's not true. They're all good because we all fight together. That's why we're called the United States of America, because we're all united. And we're all one country. We're all one people. We're made up of several different races, several different backgrounds, and several different cultures, and several different heritages. I said heritages. I think that's right. And that's what makes us great. We're diverse, but we're unified. Okay? Just want to let you know that.